All right, good afternoon from Nigeria. You're welcome to this session. It's 12 o'clock and we are starting our session. Welcome to World Water Week 2021. I want to specially welcome you all. This session is hosted by Amcow, the African Ministers' Council on Water. And we are looking at Amcow's Knowledge Hub and how it connects African water practitioners together. Many years ago, in 2019, the African Union heads of states and governments during the General Assembly held in Sharm el-Sheikh, Egypt, committed to the enhancement of information and knowledge management. That decision was to improve water sanitation and hygiene in Africa. And therefore they directed Amcow to put in place mechanisms to achieve this decision. Today we are here to look at Amcow's Knowledge Hub and efforts towards knowledge management for the benefit of the member states, and to see how it connects our professionals together to share knowledge and to improve ourselves to be able to achieve the goals that are set before us. We will not be able to start this session successfully without saying a big thank you to the African Union Commission for taking such bold steps of decisions together with their heads of states and member states. Today we have several stories to tell. Aside from the successful delivery of the Africa Water Week and the Africa Sand conferences that Amcow have held for a very long time in the previous years. Today, we are showcasing again another milestone that we have achieved and looking at how it can help our member states. So I want to say thank you also to heads of states who were in that meeting where that decision was taken. I want to say thank you to Amcow Governing Council and the Executive Committee of Amcow. I also want to say a big thank you to Amcow's past Executive Secretary, who bore this as a responsibility that he loves to carry out so much. That's Dr. Canisius Kanangire, for ensuring that this knowledge hub became a reality during his time. Today, I'm going to be presenting to our audience speakers drawn across from our partners and our partnering organizations who are going to be telling us how they appreciate knowledge and what they are doing to enhance knowledge management and information sharing within their organizations. We have drawn speakers from the Alda Nepad Center of Excellence. We have drawn speakers from the Chad Basin Organization. We have drawn speakers from International Water Management Institute, the British Geological Survey, and also we have our big support from the Water and Sanitation, Water for Africa through leadership and institutional strengthening. That's WALIS, funded by the USAID. These people are going to be presenting to us efforts that they've made. Sorry to miss this. We have also our partners, the Unesco, our big brothers. So they are going to be joining us today and show to you the efforts they are making on knowledge management before we unveil to you the Amcow Knowledge Hub. This hub was launched in 2020 in November. After we created it, it's a living platform, and subsequently we see that there's going to be a lot of expansion. Now, talking about the purpose of the Knowledge Hub, we have built this Knowledge Hub to be able to achieve a one-stop point where Africans can find information and knowledge concerning water resource management, sanitation, and issues around hygiene. If we are able to do this correctly, we would have saved our generations, the younger ones and those who are yet unborn, from some of the problems that we are facing currently. We have looked at every angle, and we found out in Amcow that knowledge is at the center of the political direction, political leadership that Amcow provides, the policy direction, as well as the advocacy that it gives. Doing knowledge management at Amcow, we want to be able to raise the bar and portray water and sanitation issues as key issues in the achievement of Africa's social and economic development. I welcome you today. I'm going to list out for us the agenda for today. And after listing out the agenda, I'll call upon those who are going to take over to moderate the event. On the agenda today, we are going to be looking at knowledge management with through an interactive session with quizzes that will be handled with one of our partners here. I'll mention her name later. Then we'll also look at knowledge management, why it is very important for organizations to do knowledge management. That will be handled from our coordinator at the Outer Nepad African Network of Water Centers of Excellence, Dr. Nicole Elema. We are also going to be looking at, after Dr. Nicole's presentation, the knowledge management at basin organizations with the example of Congo Basin. We have Dr. Rafael Tishmanga. Dr. Rafael Tishmanga will be presenting for us what they have done at the Congo Basin. After that, we will look at how partners, Amcow partners to be precise, are working to share knowledge. We have on the list Unesco, which is going to be represented by the director in charge of information at Unesco, Abu Amani. We're also going to be hearing from Karen Vilhoth from the International Water Management Institute. Then after Karen, we will hear from Kirsty Upton. Kirsty is coming from the British Geological Survey. These people will show you what they are doing on knowledge management and how they have been working with Amcow. Shortly after Kirsty's presentation, you will be having me again, your host, present to you the Amcow Knowledge Hub. I will give you a quick rundown of what happens in the hub and how you can use the hub, so that as our participants who are listening will be able to ask questions after these presentations. Then after my presentation on the Knowledge Hub, we'll have a question and answer session, which will be moderated by the Chief of Party of Wallis. Richard Rapier is his name. After Richard Rapier's moderation of the question and answer session, we will take you through a discussion group. Every participant will be placed in groups, and we'll give you group heads who will lead you through. And we'll be looking at how we can utilize knowledge management better in African water and sanitation sector. They will present you with questions that you will be deliberating upon, and you will come up with answers that will help us to strengthen what we have started already. Like I said to you, it is a vision. We want to have a one-stop point where Africans can go and find whatever they want, information and knowledge concerning Africa's water and sanitation development. And we know that your contribution will be of great help to this session. With me here are moderators, some of which I've mentioned, who will help you moderate in your groups. We have Karen Vilhoth from ILMI, we have Kirsty from BGS, we have Obina, that's me, we have Richard Rapier, Nicole Elema, and Joge Ellis De Luca from Unesco. After that, we would have you groups present what you have come up with. Like we said, we want it to be interactive. We want you to make it resourceful, something after which we can develop knowledge and continue to improve on what we are doing. So your groups will pick someone who will present what you have gathered within your groups, and we will share them for everyone's benefit. Then the next step, where I'm going to be taking you on an issue, how can WASH practitioners collaborate using the Knowledge Hub? Some of these thoughts will be coming to you while I make my presentation. And those, peradventure, if I miss anything within my presentation, I will come back to be able to address them here. And we're going to also be looking at other knowledge management tools that you may have proposed during your group discussion that will help us to improve the service that we hope to render to you subsequently. Then at the end of this, towards the end of this activity, we will have a very strong vote of thanks and call to action from the Executive Secretary acting of the African Ministers' Council on Water in the person of Mr. Thomas Banda. He is going to be saying thank you to our partners and also calling to action in areas where we need more support. I welcome you all once more, and I want to say you are going to enjoy this session. So don't log out at all. Just sit in and follow the activities. Now I'm going to be presenting to you someone who is going to be supporting us from the background to manage this whole session. She is Sarah Passman. Sarah Passman is the communications specialist for the Water for Africa through Leadership and Institutional Strengthening Program. Like I said, that's WALIS, funded by the USAID. Sarah has spent her entire professional career focusing on foreign policy and development issues in Africa. Most recently, Sarah was the Regional Development Outreach Communications Advisor for the Sahel Region Office at USAID Senegal. We trust that Sarah will make you have a very wonderful time in this session. Thank you. Sarah, over to you.
Thank you, Obana. So I hope everyone can hear me. So we're going to start off with a little bit of an interactive game. We'll see how it goes from afar. It would be a little bit easier if we were all together, but we're going to try. Okay. So by now, knowledge management is a well-known term in the international development sector. Most organizations have knowledge management strategies, frameworks, or technological tools to help them manage information and learning effectively. In fact, knowledge management is so ubiquitous that we rarely take the time to think about why it is so important and how it can help us do our jobs. It is, of course, extremely important, as Obana just mentioned. Effective knowledge management can help stimulate innovative ideas, capitalize on effective practices, foster better decision-making, and build a more informed workforce. Having access to the right information at the right time is critical for an organization's success, especially in the WASH sector, where we work on complex issues in ever-changing or diverse environments. So to start this session, we're going to take just a few minutes to demonstrate why knowledge management is so important. We're going to play a little bit of a game show. I hope most of you are familiar with the old in the US game show, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? If you aren't, it's a popular quiz game where participants have to answer increasingly difficult trivia questions in order to win prize money. Unfortunately, we don't have any prize money today, but you can win bragging rights if you win. But in this game, participants don't just have to rely on their own intelligence or knowledge of random trivia. They have the opportunity to ask other people, for example, the audience or a friend, for help with the answer. So we'll play a short round of this game, but I need 2 volunteers from the audience. So if you would like to volunteer, in your Zoom taskbar on the bottom, there's a place for reactions. If you just want to raise your hand, just need 2 volunteers. It will be quick and pretty easy. Does anyone want to volunteer? Okay, Yusuf, I see, and Tito. Okay, we got our 2 volunteers. Those are the 2 I see. So let's see, Yusuf, I think you'll be contestant 1. So you will not have help from the audience. You'll have to answer the questions on your own. And this is honor system here. So Yusuf, can you turn on your video, please? And then Tito, you are lucky, you are contestant 2, and you can have, oh, Yusuf is walking. That's okay, you can still play. Tito, you will have access to all of your fellow participants' knowledge to help you answer these questions. Okay, so once I ask the first question, contestant 1, that's Yusuf, I would say you need to write down your answer, but it looks like you're walking, so I'll just guess that I'll say that you're on the honor system and you won't look at the chat box. So Yusuf, when I ask the question, just come up with your answer in your head, and then we'll ask you for your answer a little bit later. Tito, you will be able to ask the audience for help. So Tito, we're going to use the chat box, not in Zoom, but on the World Water Week website, on the registration page, there's a place with a chat box. So participants who are not contestants, you need to help Tito answer these questions. So what you'll do is when I ask the question, you can type what you think the answer is or any help that you can give her in the chat box, also on the Pathable website. And then Tito can look at those answers. Okay, Yusuf cannot look at those answers. He has to answer the questions all on his own. Does that make sense to you both, Yusuf and Tito? You guys are okay? All right, and then I'll ask for the answers and we'll see who gets them right, okay? We're going to start with an easy question for all of you wash professionals. Let me share my screen. Hold on. 1 second. Hold on. Technical difficulties, 1 second. Beginning. All right, 1 more second. Sorry about this. 3. Okay, can everyone see my screen? Tito, give me a thumbs up if you can see it. Can you see it? You all see the screen? Okay, I hope you can see it. Let's see. Okay, let's start. Here's question 1. According to WHO UNICEF, WHO UNICEF study in 2017, what percentage of people in the world did not have access to basic sanitation? So answer A is 5%, B 15%, C 25%, or C 35%. So participants, please help out Tito, type your answers in the chat. Yusuf, don't look at the chat. I'll give you all 10 seconds to help out Tito.
The options again, please.
Oh, 5%, 15%, 25%, or 35%.
15%.
Okay, wait, hold on, Tito. We're gonna give you a little bit more time. You're getting some recommendations in the chat box if you want to look, and then I'll give you 5 more seconds and then we'll answer. Does anyone else have any help for Tito? Okay. All right, Yusuf, you can answer first. What do you think it is?
I think it's 35%.
35?
Yeah.
Okay. And Tito, what's your answer?
I'll go with 15%.
15. Okay, let's see what the answer is. It's 25, so you were both wrong. But that's okay. All right, that's the first question. Let's go to the next question. Here we go. Okay, this one's about knowledge management. It's a little bit complicated, so I'll read it out twice. Which of these are knowledge management processes? Okay, answer A is creating, detection, analysis, and organization. Oops, this should be B. Answer B is discovery, creating, gathering, and sharing. Answer C is detection, analysis, sharing, and acquisition. And D is creating, analysis, sharing, and reusing. This is a hard one. So audience, can you help out Tito? Give her a few, whichever one you think is the right answer.
Please repeat the options again, please.
I'm gonna read them again. Creating, detection, analysis, and organization is the first one. The second one, B, is discovering, creating, gathering, and sharing. The third one is detection, analysis, sharing, and acquisition. And the fourth one, D, is creating, analysis, sharing, and reusing. Okay, 5 more seconds. Tito, you're getting a lot of help in the chat box. I hope you're looking. All right, Yusuf, what do you think it is?
I'm just guessing. Yeah, I'll say D.
D, okay. And Tito,
Yeah.
what do you think it is?
I think it's D as well.
Okay, everyone says D. Let's see. Actually, it's C. You were both wrong. Although this one is a little bit subjective, so that's okay. All right, 2 more questions. Approximately how many publications and knowledge items are housed in the Amcow Knowledge Hub? A, 100, B, 1,000, C, 5,000, or D, 10,000? Another
Repeat the question again.
approximately how many publications and knowledge items are housed in the Amcow Knowledge Hub? A, 100, B, 1,000, C, 5,000, or D, 10,000? So I know there's some Amcow staff members in the group, so feel free to help Tito out. I'll give you all 10 more seconds. Does anyone have answers? Audience members, you have to help her out. She needs your help. 1,000, 10,000, 1,000, 5,000, or 10,000, or 100. Anyone have any answers? Rich says 500. That's not an option. 100, 1,000, 5,000, or 10,000.
Is it time to answer or?
Okay, it's time to answer. Yusuf, what's your answer?
The reality is I've been there. I've been to the Knowledge Hub. I think I've downloaded a couple of 1 or 2 documents, research or write articles there, but I didn't take cognizance of the number. So I'll just go for the list. I'll go for 100.
100, okay.
Yes.
Tito, what's your answer?
I have a lot of options for 1,000, so I'll go for 1,000.
1,000, okay. Well, the answer is actually 10,000.
Wow.
Either directly uploaded or indirectly from other groups that Amcow partners with. So it's 10,000. There's a lot of stuff on that.
Okay. All right. Good.
Okay, last question. We're going through quickly. Okay, which of these answers is not a knowledge management best practice? Okay, so you want to find the incorrect answer. A, creating complex policies around knowledge sharing. B, setting clear objectives and measurements. C, reviewing current content usage. Or D, moving in carefully planned stages. Okay, which of these answers is not a knowledge management best practice? A, create complex policies around knowledge sharing. That's answer A. B, set clear objectives and measurements. C, review current content usage. Or D, move in carefully planned stages. So group, we need your help. Oh, everyone.
I'll go for A.
Okay, Yusuf says A. Tito, what do you say? You have some answers in the chat.
As well. I'll go for A as well.
A. Okay. And the answer is, oops. A, you're both right. Good job.
Finally, we got something.
Excellent job. Okay, let me stop sharing my screen. 1 second. All right, so congratulations. I think everyone was a winner here, but I hope the short game illustrated how important knowledge sharing is for collaboration, learning, and adapting. In a technical sector like WASH, knowledge management will help practitioners, policymakers, and donors as well achieve organizational missions more effectively. So it's very important. And I hope that short game illustrated that a little bit. Okay, so I will turn it over to my boss, Rich, and he's going to be our MC for the rest of the day. Thanks.
Thank you, Sarah. That was super fun. So really tough questions. I think by the end of this session, we'll be able to answer those a little bit better. And I think that we'll have a set of wonderful speakers, and the discussion groups will bring out a lot of new information on knowledge management. Good afternoon, good morning to all those joining the African Ministers Council on Water Knowledge Management Hub, connecting African water practitioners. So if you're supposed to be in this session, you're in the right place. Sort of something they always said back in the old days when we met in person. It's my pleasure to welcome everyone virtually. I saw that we have around 75 to 80 participants joining today. I hope you can definitely stay for the whole session. It's super interactive, so we'll have discussion groups and everything like that. As Obina mentioned in his very good introduction, my name is Richard Rapier. I'm very happy to be with you here today. I'm the project director of the U.S. Agency for International Development's Water for Africa through Leadership and Institutional Support program. I've been doing this for about the last 5 years. And with Obina and Sarah's help, I'm going to be your session guide. We're also supported by a very nice person from Pathful named Rachel. Hi, Rachel. Thank you. This session, as Obina mentioned, is hosted by the African Ministers Council on Water, or we'll say Amcow a lot. Additional conveners of this session include the African Development Agency, the NEPED Water Centers of Excellence Southern Africa Network of Water Centers of Excellence, the British Geological Survey, the International Water Management Institute, UNESCO, and USAID. The session is sponsored by USAID and the International Water Management Institute. Obina also alluded to 6 wonderful speakers that will present their work in knowledge management for you today. I have the pleasure of introducing our first presenter. His name is Nico Elema, and I will give a little bit of a background on each of your speakers before they speak. And so once Nico is finished presenting, I will come back on and present the next speaker. And so before I go over to Nico, let me introduce him. Dr. Nico Elema is the manager of the Center for Collaboration in Africa at Stellenbosch University in South Africa, where he manages a team of international practitioners to create an enabling environment for Stellenbosch University to partner and engage with various partners across the continent. The Center for Collaboration in Africa actually hosts many secretariats. You were at a World Water Week session today, so the one that I think that matters most is the African Union Development Agency's new Partnership for Africa's Development, Southern Africa Network of Water Centers of Excellence. Welcome, Nico, and I'll pass it over to you to begin presenting.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Richard. I just want to confirm that after a year and a half working from home, I'm able to unmute my microphone and also share my screen. So are you able to hear me and see my presentation?
You're perfect, Nico. I see and hear you very well.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for this opportunity. I have about 10 minutes odd just to talk a little bit about knowledge management. And I really want to thank Amcow. You know, I realized the other day that I've worked with Amcow now for about 10 years and really walked a path, you know, with Amcow. And also participants. I had a brief look at all the attendees, and I see quite a few familiar names there. And I really wish we could have been together in Stockholm, but I think online is just as good. We might not be able to share ideas in the corridors, but it's wonderful to have this opportunity to share a little bit about knowledge management. As I was introduced, you know, I'm at Stellenbosch University, but I'm also the program manager of the African Union Development Agency, networks of water centers of excellence. And within that network, we are 20 universities that have been collaborating and working together over the last 15 odd years within the African water sector. And before I joined the university 10, 12 years ago, I was involved in knowledge management, in integrated information systems. So I really had to dust off my knowledge a little bit. But I really also want to say that, this session is not about a theoretical presentation on knowledge management. It's just sharing some ideas and sharing some issues that I think are very pertinent as Amcow is busy setting up this knowledge hub and aspects that I think we should and could consider. So as I start my presentation, I really love this slide. It really shows us that Africa is a very, very large continent. And I've had the fortune of traveling, I counted the other day, I think 33 of the African countries. And it's clear, whatever we attempt to do in Western Africa is not necessarily applicable, or you cannot just replicate it in East Africa or in Northern Africa or in Southern Africa. It's as much as asking somebody in the States, is everything that you're doing in the West Coast of the United States applicable to the East Coast? And you can see from the slide that the United States fits easily within the western part of Africa. The whole of China fits in the central southern part of Africa. And also the UK, relatively speaking, it's the same size as Madagascar, which is, part of the continent. So we must really understand that the continent is very, very large. And also in terms of knowledge management, the knowledge that we have for Southern Africa cannot just be replicated in other parts of the continent. We really have to bring other aspects to it, and then we have to consider that in that aspect as well. So just looking at a few questions that one can ask yourself. How do we build better houses to withstand earthquakes in Algeria? I saw a wonderful presentation from a colleague the other day in Algeria, and it's incredible how they, over hundreds and almost thousands of years, build a knowledge of how to build houses that can withstand these earthquakes that are prevalent in Algeria. We know about locust plagues in East Africa, and there's a lot of factors influencing it. It's constantly changing. How do we respond to a changing environment due to climate change? I mentioned just now how large the continent is, and we cannot see Africa as one country. Our response in North Africa, West Africa, East Africa would be different. Just in terms of, we think of our water management and all the aspects around that. And then also, how do we make use of our youthful population in managing water resources? It might be a very broad question, but there is a knowledge within the continent and with partners globally that one can really harness that and try to use it best. And also our institutional knowledge. There's a lot of movement of people in institutions, but what can we do to retain that? Thinking of experiences. As I mentioned, I look at the members in this group, the 75 odd, and there are so many people within this session today that have incredible institutional knowledge where they work, and also bring in indigenous knowledge. I mentioned earlier about earthquakes in Algeria, and that is very much driven by indigenous knowledge within the local context. So, you can see how knowledge really affects us, and sometimes indirectly, we really think about it and we don't even realize it. And I thought of just framing my presentation around the definition of knowledge management. And I saw in the previous presentation, who wants to be a millionaire? This whole aspect of a conscious, systematic process of defining, structuring, analyzing, retaining, and sharing the knowledge and experience that we have. And I thought of maybe just unpacking these elements within the definition, and let's just talk a little bit around it. So the first aspect, conscious systematic process. I think that really speaks to me in terms of knowledge management, of identifying why. Each organization needs to determine for themselves, why are they capturing information? What are the issues that they are trying to address? There's so much knowledge, there's so much information, there's so much data out there, but we really have to define the why in that, and then within a systematic process. So it's not something that happens just haphazardly. We cannot just buy a server, put some software there, try to connect and load information, if we do not understand the reason why we are doing it, and constantly measure, but do we need this information? Is it a nice to have, or does it really add value to our mandate and our objective? And if you really focus in on that, I think one can really start thinking of what we should collect, who we should involve, and so forth. So the next aspect is also defining. Now that we've got a better sense of why we are collecting information and what we could step further and say in terms of data, what data do we need? There's so much data out there. I did a quick search. You can think of Google and all these other platforms, YouTube, and it's data in a specific format. But also in future, and we are seeing it already, artificial intelligence, busy building data sets and databases. You see a trend and, more and more, and I think the Amcow Knowledge Hub is also following that model of being a portal and not trying to collect everything themselves, but to identify where the different data sets are that are applicable, and then to be a portal, a one-stop shop, a access to data sets like that. And of course, we see a lot of data and knowledge management systems being in the cloud, software as a service. We're moving away in many aspects from owning our own software, but we can log on online and access web services to access information on demand within the cloud. So yes, it is about data, the facts, the figures within the organization, compiling that data that lies within other organizations, compiling it, that leads to our information, where we categorize it and we contextualize it within the environment so that one can eventually move on to knowledge and the experiences around that. So defining, structuring data and coding it in that regard. And then indeed we need to analyze data. And again, this whole aspect of artificial intelligence, algorithms, you will see a lot of people in this field got computer coding skills. My son is 23 now, and it's incredible the codes that they are writing and to analyze data. And I think, sure, a few years ago, how long did it take us to analyze data? So computer science is really becoming a very important aspect and a field of study that you also within this environment, so that we are able to convert this raw data and data sets to knowledge, to information, and then eventually to knowledge. And then just in terms of retaining, one can think in terms of the term, how do we store data? I mentioned earlier, often in the cloud, and then also have access to that. But for me, when I think of retaining as well, is the human aspect. And there's such a big institutional knowledge, but how do we capture that? And often, it's not just about hard documents that you load onto a server or you have access to it in the cloud, but it's interpreting. It's often about video, capturing that, and be very systematic and being very purposeful about it. So this whole part of retaining information, I just want to highlight the human, the people part in that as well. And then lastly, and I think I'm getting closer to my 10 minutes, about sharing. Many years ago, the slogan was knowledge is power. But I think around when the internet grew around 20 odd years ago, and it became more accessible, it's about sharing is power. And you find that people and organizations that are sharing their information within frameworks are really those that are at the forefront of the demand. And sharing should really be user-driven. I've seen too many reports and documents and, in a very technical format. And, if you just think on a very simple basis, Google Maps, it is a geographical information system. It's got a lot of knowledge, but I never see a logo or something at the bottom that says, welcome to the Google Geographical Information System. It's hidden. It's so user-friendly that it becomes very intuitive and very easy to access. Google in its own is also a document or information management system, but just the way that we are able to search it and how it comes up, with predictions shows you that they've really focused on the end user. And our knowledge management systems must also be in in a manner that really caters for the user. Often, when you access the systems, you might find a bot, a coding bot, and you ask a question, and based on your response, it is able to access information. So we must always keep the end user in mind when we start thinking of our knowledge management systems. So I think with that, I would like to leave it there. I hope it's created, my presentation has created some form of a basis for the rest of the afternoon as we discuss. And if we play our round of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, potentially at the end, maybe my presentation has contributed to answering not just 1 out of 4 or 5, but 2 or 3 out of 4 or 5. Thanks, Richard.
Thank you, Nico, the consummate educator. I love Nico's True Size of Africa map. I think that, like the map, knowledge management is a multitude of types of information, processes, how to collect it, organizing it, coding, analyzing it, and ultimately sharing it across multiple platforms, languages, and people. I think Nico really pointed out that one of the great challenges of knowledge management is making it user-friendly and accessible by all. Thank you, Nico.
Perfect.
We'll have a slight change in the order of our presenters. So next, I have the pleasure of introducing 3 speakers that are going to, in about 15 minutes, present on what their organizations are doing. This presentation is How Do Partners Work with Amcow to Share Knowledge? And so a few of partners of Amcow, Unesco, the British Geological Survey, and the International Water Management Institute are going to share what they're doing with Amcow. Like before, the first, I'm going to introduce the speakers, and I'll go ahead and introduce the 3 speakers that will speak. And as speakers, as I introduce your backgrounds, that's the same order you will present in. So first we'll go with Abu Amani, then Karen Vilhoth, then Kirsty Upton. Okay, so what I'll do first is before you share screens, I'm going to just do a quick introduction. So first, I'd like to introduce Mr. Abu Amani. He's the Secretary of the International Hydrological Program and the Director of the Division of Water Sciences at Unesco. He has more than 20 years of experience on water resources in Africa, with a focus on climate variability and change, impact water resources, and implications for its sustainable management. Before joining Unesco, he was a regional hydrologist for the Permanent Interstate Committee for Drought Control in the Sahel countries, members of AgriMet, the regional center, and a technical specialist agency based in Niamey, where they work on, where he was in charge of research, information, and training on agrometeorology and hydrology. We'll also have Ms. Karen Vilhoth. Karen is a water resources management expert who has over 25 years of experience in water research and management. She is a principal researcher with the International Water Management Institute, IMI, in Southern Africa, or the Southern Africa branch of IMI, where she leads the groundwater portfolio. She is a coordinator of the Groundwater Solutions Initiative for Policy and Practice. You might see GRIP as the acronym, which is a global partnership of 30 international organizations supporting sustainable development, use, and management of groundwater. And finally, we'll round out this next set of presentations from Kirsty Upton. She's a hydrogeologist at the British Geological Survey. She's been there since 2014. She's also the chair of the trustee board for the Groundwater Trust, which is formerly the Hydrologists Without Borders UK. Kirsty has several years of experience working on African and United Kingdom groundwater research as a hydrogeologist. She has focused her research on groundwater resources assessment and management, particularly assessing borehole sustainability and improving the availability of groundwater information for Africa. Kirsty is one of the main developers of the Africa Groundwater Atlas and Literature Archive. Welcome to all, Abu, Kristen, Karen, and Kirsten. I'll get those right. We will start with Abu first, and then followed by Karen, and then Kirsty. Welcome.
Yeah, thank you very much, Richard, for the introduction. Yeah, and also for the opportunity, because I have to connect to another session which is starting in 10 minutes. So thank you really for switching the order of the module for today's session. So my presentation, I have 5 slides to share with you how UNESCO, through its International Hydrological Program, has been working with UNESCO member state in supporting them for knowledge management related to water resources, and how also we can support Amcow in the same direction. As you know, next slide. So the Intergovernmental Hydrological Program before. So the Intergovernmental Hydrological Program, as you know, is a program which has been implementing by UNESCO since 1975. And this is a program which is based on building capacity for researcher, and also building capacity to produce knowledge for better water management. It's an intergovernmental program, and based on that, we have 3 axes of interventions. The first axis of intervention is on knowledge generation, so we have to generate knowledge. And then we need also to use that knowledge for informed decision making on water management, and then support member states to build capacity at the institutional and also human resource level. Next slide. So throughout the program, as I said, we have the generation of the knowledge, which is produced through what you call the UNESCO Water Family, and also working with in cooperation with many other partners. So UNESCO Water Family, for those who don't know what is it, as I said, the program is an intergovernmental program. It means that in each country we have national archive committees. And in addition to national archive committees, we have what you call the UNESCO Water Centers and UNESCO Water Chairs worldwide. And also we have the World Water Assessment Program. So all those entities are comprising what you call UNESCO Water Family, and knowledge is generated through the family in cooperation with partners. And the type of knowledge which is produced is generally related to publications, courses, policy brief, any other material which can help also to provide evidence-based when it's come to water management. That knowledge is disseminated through various opportunities. We have the knowledge disseminated first through face-to-face events we have been organizing with various partners to share the knowledge, and also through the training of policymakers and also the training of various other partners. And also that knowledge is available within the UNESCO websites and also through the UNESCO documentation and publication archive, which we call UNESCO. I will come later on this because with the hub will make a direct connection between the UNESCO archive and also the Amcow knowledge hub. And the other also element is on the UNESCO network. Next slide, please. The other element of sharing knowledge is through the UNESCO Water Information Network System, which is an open sources online data platform, and which comprises 3 key pillar elements. The first one is on the georeference information data, so we can have all the layers, the maps related to water characteristics, and also within that component, also we can merge layers so that we can extract knowledge within that component. We can also have time series to see how changes are occurring within a given area. The second part is on the knowledge sharing platform, where we can share all, as I said, the publications, documentations, video, pictures. So whatever information which is not a map can be put within that that part. And the last part concerns the networking, because very, very important to connect stakeholders. So this is another part within that platform which help to bring together stakeholders so that they can connect and also share knowledge. Next slide. Now, the 2 last slides concern our partnership with Amcow. We have been engaging with Amcow for many years, and I want really to appreciate the partnership we have been having with Amcow. Now, concerning the knowledge the knowledge issue, we have been engaging with Amcow to see to what extent the huge knowledge of gathered by the IHP program can be considered and used within the Amcow knowledge hub. Now, in terms of thematic issues, we have been already working now since 2-3 years now with Amcow on their program on groundwater. This is a concrete example of partnership we have been having, but we have also other partnership we have been having, because we have an MOU between UNESCO and Amcow, which help us to identify specific areas of partnership. Next slide. So the last slide here is now what we have been working on, how to link the UNESCO of UNESCO, where we have, as I said, thousands of publications related to water produced by the program of IHP, to make them available so that they can be accessed directly through the knowledge hub of Amcow. But before doing that, we need first to identify what are the type of resources we want to put forward to the Amcow knowledge hub. And then we need to identify, to create a meta database and a protocol of helping to relate the 2 databases. And then based on that, we can have a connection which can help any users going to the Amcow knowledge hub can see what is available within UNESCO when it comes to the water issues, and then they can be easily directed to the UNESCO of UNESCO to access to the information. So we are really very pleased really with this partnership, and I believe that moving forward we will continue working together and identifying and making this happen, and also put all the richness of the knowledge available within the IHP for the Amcow knowledge hub. Let me stop here. My colleague Jorge will stay with you. And unfortunately, as I said, I have to connect to another session. Unfortunately, I'm very sorry for that. But my colleague Jorge is available for questions and answers.
Thank you, Abu. Enjoy your next session. And at the end of all the presentations, of course, Jorge will join us to answer questions on your presentation. Next up, we have Karen. Karen, I see you're all ready to go. And I'll hand it over to you.
Thank you very much, Richard. We just go to the start here. Okay, thank you so much to Amcow for this opportunity to be part of this very interesting session. I would also like to upfront congratulate Amcow on their huge efforts in terms of building these knowledge sharing partnerships, as well as platforms and you know, all the surrounding activities that it takes to build these kind of knowledge sharing mechanisms. And I think we are on a very strong pathway to building a very strong community around knowledge management in Africa for water and sanitation. So thanks again, and congratulations to Amcow for reaching this this point in time and having this session today. So I've already been introduced, so I will go straight to my presentation. I've been asked to identify how IMI works with Amcow to create knowledge value chains. So the first entry point we have been discussing already is Amcow's Knowledge Hub, as you can see here. And like UNESCO was mentioning in the previous presentation, IMI is also contributing to the Knowledge Hub in a way that it becomes this one-stop entry point to knowledge around water and sanitation and water resources more generally in Africa. And I think our next presenter will also join this. So we are coming together, a lot of partners, to bring the knowledge to bear within the continent of Africa. IMI has its own knowledge sharing system. It's called the CG Space, and it has about 7,000 knowledge products in this hub. And we will be making a lot of that available through this API, this Access Programming Interface mechanism that's available. And out of those 7,000, there's about 1,700 that are related to water directly, which will be relevant. So this is one of our ways to engage directly with Amcow. The other mechanism that we are working on is related to the Groundwater program that was also briefly mentioned by UNESCO, and I will come back to that in a little more detail. Firstly, I would like to just give a few slides to illustrate what knowledge management and what a knowledge value chain is. And I found some good and illustrative figures on the web. And this one is sort of illustrating how we generate data and we take it through to information, to structured information, to usable knowledge, and then we bring it into decision making. Maybe we didn't emphasize that very much previously, but I think that's very important, that this knowledge is just hanging there by itself, but it's actually being fed into a decision-making process around how water resources are going to be developed, are used and managed, and so on. And also how we need to act on our plans and strategies and so on that are very much dependent on this evidence that are part of this knowledge management. When we talk about water, I think some of the value that we bring from knowledge management is embodied in technologies. It's embedded in tools, software or hardware tools, management practices, policies, regulations, and law around water. And all of this is, of course, built on evidence and this knowledge management value chains that we have been discussing. I think it's very much important also to say that we're not talking about a one-way chain that goes from data to decisions, but we actually have very intricate and interlinked processes that are ongoing at all time. It's not like a once-off and then we have everything set. And technology plays a very important part, but only a limited part, because we need to bring in leadership organizational processes, organizational culture, strategies, and politics. And all of these things come together to distill that knowledge that is then brought into decision making. And very importantly, it's all about people, and it's all about putting the pieces together to come up with the best solutions that we think will benefit most people in the long term and support sustainable and equitable development and use of water at the continental scale in Africa. Now, back to the groundwater program. So this is just a short sort of overview of how we have set up also a kind of acknowledgement system building on a large partnership in Africa around groundwater resources and feeding into what we call the APAGROP, the African Pan-Africa Groundwater Program. And together with a lot of partners, both in Africa and beyond Africa, we are supporting Amcow in building the knowledge and the policies at various scales, from local scale to national scale to regional scale and to the continental scale when we're talking about groundwater. And so we are definitely applying these knowledge value chains very concretely in this program. And that is a very important part of how IMI is supporting Amcow at present. We're also supporting Amcow in terms of water quality. And we have a small initiative on that that's also being further developed, but I'm not going to talk on that further. There'll be a session later this week, which will represent on that. In the APAGROP program that I was mentioning, we are developing these different outputs that are supporting and feeding into the knowledge management system. So we're working on a Pan-African white paper on groundwater, which will be a high-level political paper to emphasize the role of groundwater and bring it into the high-level sphere of strategies for development at the Pan-African as well as national level. We're working on country support tools for groundwater. We're working on groundwater in cities. We're working on capacity development, aquifer mapping, and policy analysis and guidance, all in different action groups that then develop products and processes that feed into the Amcow APAGROP program. IMI has been supported by the UKIR in terms of this project that has been supporting the GRAND project and the groundwater project program that I was just mentioning. IMI has been leading this together with the British Geological Survey, and Kirsti will be presenting also some of the outcomes in the next presentation. Finally, I just want to mention the GRIP network that I'm leading and that Richard was mentioning also in my introduction. We're working with 30 partners globally that are experts and have a very long-term experience in groundwater for sustainable development. And we are using exactly these partners to feed into the APAGROP program. And so all of these value chains are sort of coming together through these various networks. I think I will stop with that and give a big thank to Amcow and to the audience for your attention. These are some photos from our APAGROP interventions over time since 2019. We had two big launching events in Nairobi and Kampala. And if you want to know more about the APAGROP program, please visit the session on Wednesday at 2 to 3 o'clock and have more information around how this program pans out. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Karen. Great plug for your next session. We're going to move straight on to Kirsty Upton with the British Geological Survey. Over to you, Kirsty.
Okay, thank you, Rich. I hope you can see my screen. Is that sharing?
I see it and we hear you.
Yes, perfect. Okay, thank you. So thank you to Amcow, firstly, for the opportunity to be part of this session today. It's a real pleasure to be here to share thoughts on knowledge management and to briefly talk just now about the Africa Groundwater Atlas. So the Africa Groundwater Atlas is one output from a 7-year UK-funded research programme, UpGrow, which focused on various issues around groundwater and water security in sub-Saharan Africa. And we have been working with Amcow over the last couple of years through the groundwater programme, as has already been mentioned, to make this output and also other outputs from the UpGrow programme more easily accessible to stakeholders in Africa through the Knowledge Hub. So the aim of the Africa Groundwater Atlas, very much in line with the aim of Amcow's new Knowledge Hub, is all about making knowledge and information, specifically here on African groundwater, more visible and accessible, recognising that that groundwater makes a very important contribution to water supply in Africa, domestically, agriculturally, and that groundwater also plays a critical role in maintaining ecosystem services, and that knowledge and information on groundwater really underpins its sustainable development and use and management. So what is the Africa Groundwater Atlas? It's an online open access Wikipedia style platform, which provides a consistent overview of groundwater in every country in Africa. So it summarises lots of existing groundwater knowledge and information, and then provides a gateway to more detailed information. It was developed by the British Geological Survey in collaboration with more than 50 African hydrogeologists through the International Association of Hydrogeologists. And it's aimed at a wide range of users, so hydrogeologists and academics through to groundwater, water supply practitioners and policy and decision makers. And as I said, we've been working with Amcow to make this resource even more accessible by linking to it through their new Knowledge Hub. And just very briefly, looking at what's inside the Africa Groundwater Atlas as an example of knowledge management. There's a country page. Every country has its own page within the Atlas. They all look similar. And within those pages, there's relevant background information. So information on climate, soil, land cover, and some socioeconomic information for each country, relevant to groundwater and water supply. There's an overview of the main geological and hydrogeological formations within the country, with new 1 to 5 million scale hydrogeological maps for most but not all countries. There's also summaries of groundwater use and management within each country, with lists of the key institutions that have responsibility for managing and regulating groundwater. And then separate from the country pages is a whole host of supporting information and resources, including case studies on a wide variety of topics, which are really trying to make groundwater issues more relevant and relatable to users. And finally, sitting alongside the Africa Groundwater Atlas, we have a literature archive of groundwater reports, academic publications, maps, policy documents for Africa. So there's currently around 8,000 entries within the literature archive. This is an online, freely available resource, in much the same way as IMI's and Unesco's and the new knowledge hub from Amcow. And every entry in the atlas has in the archive has a series of metadata associated with it, which makes it searchable by title, by author, by keyword. And this is also currently linked to from Amcow's Knowledge Hub, and we're exploring the possibility of integrating it further using an API to make entries within the literature archive directly accessible through the Knowledge Hub. So watch this space for further developments. And would really like to finish by echoing Karen's congratulations, having been involved in some of these knowledge management processes over the last few years. It's no small feat to put together resources like this. So it's been a real pleasure for BGS to be involved with Amcow on this initiative. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kirsty, very much. And also thank you, Karen, and before Karen, Abu. Before I go over to the next speaker, I'll just mention that the Africa Groundwater Atlas and the Literature Archive are really wonderful gateways to all this information. Over the last several years that's come together, it has significantly expanded what we know about groundwater on the continent and essentially consolidated that into one place. It's a ton of information. Linking it to the Amcow Knowledge Management Hub and making it available for all. Of course, it's also available on the own site is really great. And the fact that it is going to be continuously updated as much as possible really speaks to what Karen was saying, that this is a continuous process. And this information isn't just hanging out. Organizations are free to take this, use this in their decision making, and truly be a learning organization. Linking the Water Information Network System from Unesco, these other resources I just mentioned really do make the knowledge management cycle click. Okay. So before I go over to the next speaker, I will just mention that please go into the Pathable chat if you can. If you have questions for the presenters, that's a good place to capture it for us all. We'll try to get to as many as possible during the question and answer session. Also, there's a lot of information in what is being presented. We will post up these presentations as PDF files in the file section of Pathable at sometime soon after this this whole session, so that you can go and access it, keep it for your own, and then look at those resources as you have time. Our next presenter is Rafael Tishmanga from the University of Kinshasa. He's going to be presenting to you on knowledge management in basin organizations, and in particular the Congo Basin example. Let me introduce a quick bio on Rafael. Rafael is the hydrology and water resources scientist at the Congo River Basin and at the University of Kinshasa in the Democratic Republic of Congo. He's also a Flair Fellow at the UK Royal Society African Academy of Sciences. His career combines both professional and academic skills with a large range of applications to water resources. And this research has encompassed applications of a broad range of innovative approaches for water resources assessment and management in ungauged basins with a focus in the Congo Basin. Rafael, welcome, and look forward to hearing your presentation.
Yeah, thank you very much, Richard. Thank you to everyone. Yeah, I like that word, ungauged basin. So because we are working in the basins where there are no information really on the ground, so that they can help us really make a decision. So, and in this case, we are actually prompted to go for new approaches, robust approaches that can help us really carry out research, implement knowledge management, and also support decision making. So that is actually why I'm talking about a holistic approach to knowledge management in the Congo Basin. So this is a basin that is being shared by 9 countries. We have got DRC, we have got Tanzania, Zambia, Angola, Burundi, Rwanda, Cameroon, and Central African Republic and Congo. So the total area of the basin is about 3.7 million square kilometers. And so what's actually important is really that this basin generates about 41,000 cubic meters of flow rate per second. And this is the second large basin in the world after the Amazon. But really in terms of knowledge generation, and it's actually largely lagging behind, really. There are not many studies in these basins. There are no information, and really, so, but this basin has got potential in terms of water resource services, not only for the Nile River countries, but really for Africa. So then, how can we manage water resources in this area, in this region? We see that the potentials and services that are provided by the basin include, we have got, huge potential for hydropower. Here we are talking about a potential of, 100 gigawatts of untapped hydropower. So in the region, the road infrastructures, maintaining road infrastructures is very, very difficult here due to this humid climate, tropical climate. But really, the navigation routes provide more than 25,000 kilometers that connect different European countries. So, you can see here the value of water resources. So there are potential for developing irrigated agriculture, biodiversity, and so on. So then, we have got most of water resource services contained in this region. So then how do you go about it? So, but we still have a lot of challenges. It's about anthropogenic impact at the basin scale. So we are talking about large-scale deforestation. We are talking about mining. I was actually, for the last 2 days, I was actually exchanging with Karen about the water pollution due to mining activities upstream in Angola, and this has caused, environmental catastrophe, environmental problems in DRC for the country that is using water downstream. So land cover change, land degradation, river sedimentation, and loss of aquatic habitat. These are really the major problem of land use change and climate change in the region. So, the basin actually is playing huge role in regional moisture recycling, so that really we can say that those people, for instance, in Ethiopia, that actually taking benefiting from water, from rainfall, and it's actually now stated that that rainfall is coming from the Congo rainforest. So we do have challenges with method of measurements and estimate of hydroclimate parameters, and this is actually due to sparse observation networks. So there are not really tools developed to provide hydrological information. So there are actually a lot of uncertainties about water resource management. The lack of decision support system and so on, climate change uncertainty. So then, how then do we make sure that really all these potentials, these resources, services, water resource services are benefiting to the well-being of people in the region? So, and this is actually where we say that really we need the system thinking, to water resource management in the Congo Basin. So it's not about really one approach. It's not about, it's actually a holistic approach. It's a transboundary approach to water resource management. So really, we need really to think from multiple dimensions. So how can we improve access to water resource service in the basin? So how can we optimize benefits? So we optimize benefit, then we also, kind of trade-off, optimizing benefit, but also conserving the water resources. So for sustainable development. So efficiency and how can we use innovative technologies? How can we ensure that really there is a good process of stakeholder participation? So how then can we ensure that there is a conducive institutional framework? So these are really the issues that really are, that we have to keep in mind when we are addressing water resource management and development and knowledge management in this region. And this is actually where we are coming up with our decision support system for integrated water resource management in the basin. the Congo Basin Catchment Information System. So it's actually, there is a publication on this, but here, this one is based on catchments. So the idea here is that really, how can we use catchment as a unit of water resource management, unit of information management, unit of knowledge management. And in this case, we set up a sort of criteria, and we subdivided the whole basin into comprehensible hydrological units, which are actually the catchment management. They are actually 1,740 units. So, and we here, as you can see, we had an opportunity to present this framework to the stakeholders at the government level, and we are now working with the government level to see how we can actually, take this tool further in order to collect more data, to train people, and to make it at the center of decision making of water resource management in the Congo Basin. And this is actually where the collaboration with Amcow is coming in. Mm-hmm. And okay, this is actually the interface of the tool, and we have identified the measure rivers, and for each sub-basin or each catchment, we do have information about 7 thematic areas. So there is catchment identification, climate information, physiographic characteristics. We have information on hydrology, risks, and water uses, and also some additional information that can be used. So here, as you can see, it's actually a summary of the information that are contained within the system. So future works that actually we are trying to do, and for which we are planning to collaborate with Amcow, is to improve on data collection, data processing, and analysis. So this will be through field work, to also field work, collect hydrological data, socioeconomic data on water use, and so on, to use remote sensing. And we'll be also focusing on processing, understanding, and developing functional relationships. So this actually will be part of modeling and so on. So we'll be also focusing on dissemination, capacity building, delivery, and networking. So we have this tool. How can we train people on the use of these people, on the improvement of these people? So, and we thank also a lot of partners that have been involved in the development of this tool. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rafael. Very interesting information. This is the type of information that is being utilized by organizations, the basin organization, on the ground to make decisions. So incredibly interesting in this session to talk about knowledge management and putting into action. We are a little bit behind schedule, folks. So we're going to make a quick change to the schedule. We're going to forego the question and answer after the presentations, and I think take a quick break and then go into our discussions. That is the most interactive part of this session. What you can do, though, is if you have a question, is put that in the chat in Pathable. Those don't go away after the session is done. That is captured right there, and so all of the presenters can see that. We will get those questions to them as well. You can also, through the Pathable platform, directly link to those folks and contact them about your question or future collaboration. Knowing that, I'm going to move on to our last presentation, and this is from our host, Obina Ana of the African Ministers Council on Water. He's a Knowledge Management Information Sharing Officer at Amcow. He's a certified knowledge manager and has that certification from the Knowledge Management Institute in Virginia. For over 10 years, Obina has been working on communications, knowledge management, organizational learning across several international donor-funded programs, including the European Union's Water Supply and Sanitation Sector Support Program in Nigeria, and UK AIDS Education Sector Support Program also in Nigeria. Many others to mention there, but I want to go ahead and hand over the mic to Obina so he can present our last presentation of the day before we go into the discussion session on Obina. I have your title, Amcow's Knowledge Hub, what we've all been waiting for. And some of the questions that have showed up in the chat, he may be able to answer during his presentation. So listen carefully. Thank you. Obina, over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Richard. Thank you to all our presenters. And thank you to all our partners who are present today participating. We have been able to put together at Amcow all these partners to share with you what we're doing. Like we said earlier, we want to build a one-stop spot where Africans can get resources on water and sanitation. And you can see from the presentations that have been made by our partners that if we can put together all these experiences and make them available for people to learn, we would be able to solve our problems as Africans in the sector. I'm going to be sharing with you Amcow's Knowledge Hub. I will go very quickly around it. We may not have to go into details so that you see what Amcow is doing and how you can benefit from it. Now, this is the homepage of the Knowledge Hub. Like I said there, we have a vision of a one-stop point for collecting and sharing Africa's water and sanitation and information, information and knowledge. Our homepage is simple. You can navigate through the homepage. You can read, you can see all the items on the menu. We have the resources, the commentaries, the reference section, the community, and you can sign in, you can sign up an account and have access to more useful parts of the platform. Now, if you see on the homepage, we have a featured resources there where most of the recent resources are featured. Now, you've heard from all our partners. This is not a small task. We have, ILMI says they have about 1,715 items only on water. Then BGS has about 9,000 collections of information and knowledge. I can imagine, I don't think by the time we're done with this vision, and it will be difficult to get done with it. By the time we're done with it, I don't think there's an institution that would have such magnitude of resources. Kudos to Africans, because something big is coming that will solve most of the problems that we face in water and sanitation sector. If you listen carefully, Dr. Nico Eluema tried to explain to us the benefit of knowledge management. Dr. Nico has also shared their platform from the Centers of Excellence. They have about 1,330 resources there for us to make use of. I will show you where these things are linked on this Knowledge Hub. Now, if you look at the resource page of our Knowledge Hub, you will see that we have documents presented with their cover pages so that you can begin to make choices of what document you read. And now these documents are categorized into collections being drawn from several organizations that have chosen to be liberal to share what they have. If you look at the right side of my screen, you will see one of the documents opened. That's the Africa World Atlas. You can read this document just like you walk into a library and read, and you can click on your next tab to go from page to page, or you go previous. And these documents, if you look by the page here, you'll see that on the left-hand side of that open page, you see the categories of these documents. It helps you to be able to make a good choice quickly of the document you want to read. The idea behind what Amcow is doing is to be able to converge these resources together and their metadata and put them together in such a way that you can easily have access instead of running around looking for how to classify these documents by yourself. So we've done that for you. As soon as documents come into the hub, they're automatically classified and made available for you to use. If you paid attention very well to all the presentations, you will see that the platforms shown by our partners may look a little more complex than what we have in Amcow. That's because when it comes to our platform, we simplify it for you. Now, if you look at this page, on the Knowledge Hub, you'll see that we have commentaries, these are articles, for professional articles, technical articles. We receive these articles and we post them here in different languages. Here we have articles on the left, we have articles in English, we have articles in Portuguese, we have articles in French and in Arabic language. Then in the middle, you can see that there's a directory of resources. These are resources or platforms that have been linked to Amcow through the URL. When we say URL, we mean Uniform Resource Locators. Now, when we get in contact with our partners and we agree to share knowledge on Amcow's Knowledge Hub, we use their URLs, link their resource centers to Amcow platform. And this is what you have here in the middle. There's a directory there. You will see Africa Groundwater Atlas, which was talked about by Kirsty. You will see something on Africa Groundwater Literature Archives, also talked about by Kirsty. You see Peri Peri University, which was given to us by the Auda Nepal Centers of Excellence. You will see issues on Africa San from Amcow, and also issues from Upgrow. We also have major rivers, river basins of Africa. All these things, we pull them from different organizations and we put them here for our member states and other users to have access. Now also, another way you could connect with Amcow is by the API documentation, which many of them have talked about. Now, this is a highly technical activity. We've been working on this for some months to see how we integrate APIs from our partners. Now, we've learned a lot of lessons from doing this. We realized that by the time we want to connect a particular platform on Amcow's Knowledge Hub, you discover that most platforms were built with different programming languages. Most platforms were built at different times before Amcow built its platform. So it's taking us a little bit of tweaking some languages, a little bit of straightening things out, updating some platforms before we can do this. So, but we're working on it. We're working on it. But all the resources on all the platforms that we have received so far have been connected already through the URL, and we're working on the API. So with all our presenters and their presentations today, I look forward to a time we'll develop a concept note. Yeah, we'll develop a concept note on how to integrate all these platforms through the API system. That is what the work is all about. We'll continue to evolve, we'll continue to escalate. On the right-hand side, if you look carefully, you will see that there is a forum there where professionals can chat with each other and share knowledge. All these efforts are just to pull us together. If you remember the title of our session, it says Amcow's Knowledge Hub, bringing African water professionals together. Now, I have a map of Africa here with a lot of logos from our partners, from regional economic communities. Whether you're here, whether you're not here, from the origin of water resources and sanitation management in Africa, you can agree that a lot of knowledge has been created. It doesn't matter where you are. We want to reach you, because at Amcow, every drop counts, and we count every drop. So we look forward to a partnership with you. We look forward to you sending your resources. And I would be coming back to you after our presentation to talk about how we relate more on knowledge management. Thank you, Richard. Over to you.
Thank you, Obina. So if I'm correct, we are going to take a very quick break. We're foregoing the question and answer to save some time. As you guys can see, we're under the hour when this session will end. And when it ends, it ends. We all shut down and have to go on to other things. Again, you can reach out to the presenters by the chat. If you have questions, also reach out to each of them directly. In the Pathwell platform, many of the presenters have gone ahead and uploaded their complete bio. so you can learn a little bit more about them. If they haven't, I encourage them to do so. And then I will ask Sarah just right here. We're going to have just a quick break, and then we'll be back here, I think, in a couple minutes to be sorted into our discussion groups. Is that right, Sarah?
Yep, I'll open the discussion groups now. So just, take a quick break, maybe 2 minutes, 3 minutes, and when you come back, you'll be in your discussion groups. Rich, do you want to tell them how that will work, or would you like me to do so?
I'll go ahead and tell you. So the wonders of the Pathable Zoom platform is going to randomly sort you guys into the 3 different groups. Each group has a question it's going to be treating, and we will put those questions with each group there. You'll stay in your groups, but these presenters, Nico, Karen, Kirsty, and also bringing in Jorge from Unesco, will be facilitating these groups, but those presenters will also, those facilitators will rotate through the groups. At the end of the group session, which we have about, I think about total of maybe 30 minutes to do, so we'll have to shorten them just a little bit, 30 minutes in total, so you'll be rotating through each in about 10 minutes, or we will rotate through those groups every 10 minutes. You as a participant will stay in the same group. We will then work with you to capture what your group discussed, and a volunteer will present for that group, which will be great. And then after that, we'll close things up. But now we'll take a quick couple break, and Sarah will be there sorting you into your groups. If you have questions, please throw them in the chat. And just please be patient with us. This is our first time using this technology as well.
So it's 40 past the hour, whatever hour you're in, maybe 43 past the hour. If you all can come back, we'll start the groups in about 3 minutes. Okay, I'm going to open the groups now, so we'll see you soon.
Hopefully within each group, you selected someone to report out. We'll have just a few minutes to report out really the one major takeaway from your group. We just have time for one. And then after that, we're going to essentially go to the summary and the call to action by the acting Executive Secretary of Amcow, Mr. Thomas Banda. So I will, for those who were in group 1, you know who you are. Whoever was chosen as the reporter, please go ahead and unmute yourself. Have your video on if you can, and please report out the one big takeaway from group 1, which was developing a knowledge management community of practice. We're all ears. Anyone from group 1?
Sorry, Richard, I don't know if I was in group 1, but I think a message which resonated in the discussion was that if there's a community of practitioners to be created, it needs to be facilitated, supported, and there needs to be some resources put into actively keeping a community of practitioners together.
Okay, thank you. And Jenny, you were in group 2 because that's what I started out in. So thank you for that. That was on improving support and financing for knowledge management in the water and sanitation sector. Group 1, I'll come back to you. Anyone from group 1 want to talk about how they were developing a knowledge management?
I don't know which group I was in, but I want to.
Thank you, Mary.
I want to be fair to you.
No, go for it, Mary.
Our group was trying to show that involving the communities, everybody, civil society, government, all the organizations, development partners, we all come together, have the same knowledge. We shall be able to have enough knowledge, and Amcow will be able to store, not just independent, just the ground people alone or the government ministry alone. We must, all the people involved, work together. I think that's what we agreed, and there were very many examples that were given in the group. Thank you.
That's wonderful to hear, Mary. Thank you. Okay, in group 3, you had one of the more complicated questions. What knowledge management and communication tools, materials are needed for learning and successful advocacy in the wash sector? Anyone from group 3? Anyone?
I prefer my African colleagues to stand up in this case, but if no one else wants to just jump in, I think one of the big things we talked about is the need for up-to-date knowledge and information and data. And so I think that is so vital for us to make important decisions, but also to drive advocacy in the right direction. And that is something that this knowledge hub should help to facilitate. So potentially by having someone who curates the data for their accuracy, validity, and up-to-dateness.
Okay, great. For anyone, if you have takeaways from your group discussions and you think you want to share that with everyone else, please put that in the chat. By all means, we don't want to silence anyone. We just are cognizant that we don't have a whole lot of time. And we know you probably have a session after this to go to. So we want to give people just a small break. Sarah, if it's okay, as you instructed me, we want to now shift over to Mr. Thomas Banda, Acting Executive Secretary for the African Ministers Council on Waters Secretariat. Mr. Banda, would you like to take the floor? The screen.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much, Richard. This was a very wonderful moderation. Thank you very much. Distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to start by extending our sincere gratitude to those of us who have made this event possible and all the distinguished participants here with us today. We believe that today's engagement on this platform of the Stockholm World Water Week 2021 will go a long way to escalate Amcow's knowledge management work. It is usually difficult to keep large families together. All over the world, when families grow and reproduce, there seems to be an emergent disintegration. At Amcow, we provide political leadership, policy direction, and advocacy in Africa's water and sanitation sector. In this big African water family, we have identified knowledge as one of the critical elements that can hold us together. This bond is why Amcow is building a unifying knowledge management system. Ladies and gentlemen, if we are united in what we know, we can go a long way in a structured direction to achieve the goals set for us. That's the Sustainable Development Goal, especially goal number 6, the Africa Water Vision 2025, and the Agenda 2060, the Africa we want. Amcow has created this knowledge hub to help us harvest homegrown knowledge, store it, and share it with our constituents. Also, we are developing mechanisms to sustain the knowledge creation. I would like to conclude my remarks with this call for action on behalf of the Governing Council of Amcow. I call upon all organizations in the water and sanitation sector in Africa and beyond to join hands with us, Amcow, to build this platform for ourselves and those to come. I call on all the member states, regional economic communities, lake and river basin organizations, all the centers of excellence, the academia, development partners, donors, civil societies to support this vision of a continental resource center. Please send us information and knowledge resources as you develop them. Link your repositories with Amcow's Knowledge Hub, and let's build that one-stop point where our member states can find primary relevant materials on water and sanitation development. If we can join hands to do this, we'll be able to build an agile water and sanitation sector in Africa that can empower its people and change their lives. Once again, I would like to thank you all participants for your time well spent. It was a very good and productive session. Thank you and God bless you.
Thank you, Mr. Banda, for your message to everyone and the actions that everyone is leaving with. This has been a wonderful session. Again, we're going to be posting all of the presentations in the Pathable page for this session as files, so you'll be able to find that. And if you have questions or want to connect with one of the presenters, please be sure to do that. You can do that through the Pathable platform and through the chat. The chat will be available after the session ends, so you'll be able to come back to it anytime you wanted to. Sarah, over to you, and Obina for any last words.
Yeah, not me. How about Obina? Do you have anything else you'd like to say to the participants?
Sorry, I said I just want to say thank you to everyone for making our time to be with us today. And thanks to the Acting Executive Secretary of Amcow for that strong call to action. And I believe that with the enthusiasm that we have seen during the group session, we would have a lot of cooperation after this time. Thank you. Thank you, Richard.
Thank you, Obina. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, everyone, so much for joining our session. Great to follow up with you online and throughout the conference and afterwards. Have a great evening, or if you're on the East Coast of the US like I am, the rest of your morning. Take care, everyone. Bye now.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.